Middle school student Madoka Kaname is surprised to find the girl from her dream, Homura Akemi, enroll in her school the following day. Homura, who seems to already know her, warns Madoka to stay the way she is, or risk losing everything. After school, when Madoka goes shopping with her friend, Sayaka Miki, she hears a strange voice leading her to an abandoned section of the mall. She encounters a strange cat-like creature called Kyuubey being attacked by Homura, who is revealed to be a magical girl. As Homura demands Madoka to stay away from Kyuubey, Sayaka arrives and escapes with Madoka, only for them to be caught in a magical barrier and approached by strange monsters. They are rescued by another magical girl named Mami Tomoe, who repels the attackers with her magic abilities. Homura appears again and is confronted by Mami, who tells her that she will overlook the attack on Kyuubey as she does not want to fight in front of the other girls. Homura leaves afterwards. Kyuubey is healed by Mami's powers and explains that he wishes to form a contract with Madoka and Sayaka to make them magical girls. Mami and Kyuubey explain to Madoka and Sayaka that Kyuubey has the power to grant wishes, but in exchange, those who make wishes must become magical girls to fight witches who are born from curses. Mami offers to take Madoka and Sayaka with her on a witch hunt to determine whether there is a wish they would risk their lives for. The next day, Kyuubey, who cannot be seen by normal people, accompanies Madoka and Sayaka to school, where they learn to communicate with each other telepathically. Homura visits Madoka once again to repeat her warning and refuses to answer when Madoka asks what her wish was. After school, Madoka, Sayaka, and Mami follow the aura of the witch from the previous day to an abandoned building where they save a woman controlled by a witch from committing suicide. They enter a portal inside the building where Mami finds and defeats the witch responsible, earning a grief seed, which can be used to recover magical power. Sayaka visits an injured boy named Kyosuke Kamijo, who was a violin player she admired when she was little. After defeating a witch's familiar, Mami tells Madoka and Sayaka that she was in a traffic accident and did not have time to think about her wish. She also lets Sayaka know about the precedents for wishing on behalf of other people. Later that night, as Madoka helps her mother and talks with her father, Mami is approached by Homura, who warns her about making Madoka a magical girl. The next day, while visiting the hospital, Madoka and Sayaka find a grief seed that is close to activating. Sayaka and Kyuubey enter the portal ahead of them, while Madoka goes to find Mami. As Madoka and Mami catch up with them, Homura tries to warn Mami about the witch, but Mami binds her to stop her from following them. As they continue, Madoka mentions that her wish is to simply be a magical girl and help others. Mami laments that her job as a magical girl has left her lonely and afraid, but on the other hand feels happy that Madoka wishes to fight alongside her. Mami fights the doll-like witch Charlotte, only for the witch to suddenly transform into a huge caterpillar-like creature that kills Mami right before Madoka's eyes. Homura, freed as a result of Mami's demise, defeats Charlotte and claims the grief seed, before leaving a mortified Madoka and heavily resentful Sayaka behind. As Sayaka continues to worry over Kyosuke, Madoka admits she is too scared to become a magical girl after witnessing Mami's death, so Kyuubey decides to let her be. Madoka is approached by Homura, who tells her that Mami, along with other magical girls she has seen die during her time, will only be considered missing by normal people. Madoka says she will never forget Mami or the fact that Homura saved her life, though Homura warns her that her kindness may be used against her. As Kyosuke becomes more frustrated and desperate about his condition which keeps him from being able to play the violin, Sayaka decides to contract with Kyuubey. Out in the city, Madoka notices several people infected by the kiss of the witch Ellie, including her classmate Hitomi Shizuki, preparing to kill themselves by mixing cleaning agents. When Madoka thwarts the attempted mass suicide, they chase her into a closet where she is caught by a witch who tortures her with memories of Mami's death. She is rescued by Sayaka, who had become a magical girl after using her wish to cure Kyosuke's hand, much to the shock of Homura. Elsewhere, Kyuubey greets a recently arrived magical girl named Kyoko Sakura, who is unhappy that Sayaka took over the area Mami once looked after. Both Madoka and Homura show concern about Sayaka's decision to become a magical girl. Sayaka visits Kyosuke and feels happy that he's finally able to play his violin once again. Madoka asks Homura to become friends with Sayaka, not wanting her to suffer the same fate as Mami. though Homura's words that those who become magical girls cannot be saved do nothing to comfort her. Later that day, Madoka joins Sayaka to search for a witch's familiar, but it escapes when Sayaka's attacks are blocked by Kyoko, who only cares about collecting grief seeds from mature witches. Kyoko's selfishness angers Sayaka, and the two magical girls clash violently, with Madoka unable to do anything to stop them. As Kyoko gets the upper hand, Madoka considers using her wish to stop the fighting, but Homura steps in before she can do so. Homura knocks Sayaka unconscious and gets Kyoko to leave, before telling Madoka again not to get involved, and insists that she gives up on Sayaka. Kyuubey talks to Sayaka about the potential Madoka has to become a magical girl, but Sayaka insists that she does not want Madoka to get involved. Homura confronts Kyoko, mentioning that something known as Walpurgis Knot is approaching in 2 weeks. Kyoko agrees to form an alliance with her to fight against it. Madoka becomes concerned about Sayaka, who ignores her pleas to try talking with Kyoko and shows hatred towards Homura, who she blames for Mommy's death. The next evening, Sayaka is confronted by Kyoko again, who goads her into another fight on top of a highway bridge. Before the battle can begin, Madoka arrives and throws Sayaka's soul gem, the source of her magic energy, off the bridge in the hope of stopping the fight. Sayaka suddenly drops lifeless, shocking both Madoka and Kyoko. Kyuubey reveals that as part of the contract, the soul gem literally contains the magical girl's soul, while their body is a shell that can only be controlled within 100 meters of the soul gem. Homura rushes to retrieve the soul gem and brings it back to Sayaka, reviving her. Sayaka gets angry at Kyuubey for not talking to her about her soul's relocation as part of her contract. In response, Kyuubey explains this to her. He painfully punishes Sayaka by touching her soul gem, because she was not hurt by Kyoko. The next day, Madoka asks Homura about Kyuubey not mentioning his manipulation of Sayaka's soul gem to them. Kyoko talks with Sayaka, taking her to a church which belonged to her father before he was excommunicated for his controversial beliefs. She explains how she made a contract with Kyuubey so that people would listen to her father's sermons, but when he found out about her wish, he broke down and killed himself and his family, leaving Kyoko alone. Sayaka apologizes to Kyoko, but refuses to listen to her advice to live for herself. The next day, Kyosuke returns to school, but Sayaka avoids talking to him. Hitomi confronts her about it and reveals she is also in love with Kyosuke, giving Sayaka 1 day to confess to him before she does. Sayaka breaks down in front of Madoka, believing that she can never be with Kyosuke as she feels she is no longer human. As Sayaka fights against a witch that night, she ignores Kyoko's help and recklessly attacks the witch without regard to the damage caused to her body, laughing maniacally. Sayaka defeats the witch, but refuses to take the grief seed it produces. Madoka tries to reason with Sayaka, who blames Madoka for her state before running off. As Homura and Kyoko discuss Walpurgis Knot, Kyuubey approaches them and mentions that something bad will happen if Sayaka's soul gem is not cleansed. Sayaka does not return home that night, and just watches as Hitomi confesses to Kyosuke the next day, sending her further into despair. Homura approaches her and tries to offer a grief seed, but Sayaka rejects it again as she does not trust her. Homura prepares to kill Sayaka to spare Madoka from the suffering of watching Sayaka's downfall, but Kyoko intervenes, helping Sayaka escape. Kyuubey coerces Madoka into making a wish to save Sayaka, but Homura shoots him before she can do so. She breaks down before Madoka and tells her not to be so self-sacrificing. Madoka gets the feeling she has met Homura somewhere before, but leaves to search for Sayaka while a replacement Kyuubey appears, identifying Homura as a being from a different timeline. Kyoko finds Sayaka, who is implied to have just killed 2 men on the train. Sayaka admits her stupidity before her soul gem, which has turned completely dark, shatters and transforms into a grief seed. Elsewhere, Kyuubey muses that a woman who is yet to mature is called a girl, and that magical girl is the corresponding term for a witch who is yet to mature. As a witch appears before Kyoko, Homura arrives and uses her time manipulation to help Kyoko escape, bringing Sayaka's body to Madoka. Homura reveals that the witch was actually Sayaka, whose soul gem has transformed into a grief seed as a result of becoming too tainted with despair. Later that night, Kyuubey appears before Madoka again, explaining that his race, known as incubators, choose girls in their teens and raise them to become witches, in order to obtain powerful energy from the transition from hope to despair in an effort to prevent the heat death of the universe. Madoka also learns from him that incubators are emotionless and do not understand human morals. She is upset due to the revelations. Desperately clinging to the hope that there may still be a way to save Sayaka, Kyoko asks Madoka to help her try to reach Sayaka's human feelings and to obtain her soul gem from the witch. As the two enter the portal to confront the witch, Kyoko takes the majority of its attacks while Madoka tries to reach Sayaka with words. However, when Sayaka ends up attacking Madoka as well, Kyoko has Homura to get Madoka to safety while she sacrifices herself to destroy Sayaka. Kyuubey, who knew there was no way of saving Sayaka, taunts Homura and says that with Kyoko gone, she will not be able to stop Walpurgis Knot without Madoka becoming a magical girl. This episode looks at an alternate timeline in which Homura is a shy transfer student who makes friends with the cheerful Madoka. Lacking confidence in herself, as she had been in the hospital for the past 6 months, Homura is attacked by a witch, but is rescued by Madoka and Mami, both of whom are magical girls. When both Madoka and Mami are killed in the battle against Walpurgis Knot, Homura makes a contract with Kyuubey to send her back in time so that she can protect Madoka. She joins Madoka and Mami and learns how to use her magical powers for combat, stopping time whilst using stolen firearms and explosives. However, after the battle against Walpurgis Knot, Homura witnesses Madoka transforming into a witch and realizes Kyuubey had been deceiving everyone. She attempts to tell the others during the next time loop, but they do not believe her until Sayaka becomes a witch, and the remaining magical girls are forced to kill her. After the battle, Mami kills Kyoko and turns her gun on Homura in an attempt to prevent them from becoming witches. Madoka stops Mami with deadly force, leaving just her and Homura to face Walpurgis Knot. With their soul gems depleted, Madoka uses her last grief seed on Homura, begging her to return to the past to keep her from being fooled by Kyuubey. She then asks Homura to kill her before she turns into a witch. Returning to the past with a colder personality, Homura attempts to keep Kyuubey from making a contract with Madoka in the first place, and decides to fight against the witches herself. This ultimately fails, and she continues to travel through multiple timelines in the hope of saving Madoka. Kyuubey reveals to Homura that the reason Madoka has the potential to become such a powerful witch is because Homura's constant trips through time to try and save Madoka have resulted in her becoming the center point of countless timelines, as the potential of a magical girl is determined by the relative effect of their role on fate. After Sayaka's funeral, Kyuubey shows Madoka the history of magical girls and how it has shaped civilization, causing extreme distress to Madoka. Madoka's mother, Junko, grows concerned about her and feels her daughter is hiding something from her. Madoka goes to see Homura, who unconceivingly reassures her that she can handle Walpurgis Knot and finally reveals the truth about herself. As a storm hits the city and the citizens take shelter, Homura stands alone to face Walpurgis Knot, but despite her best efforts, she is overwhelmed and is eventually defeated. When Madoka hears from Kyuubey that Homura may turn into a witch if the latter loses hope of saving her, Madoka prepares to go and find her. Although Junko tries to stop her, Madoka convinces her that she is doing what she believes is the right thing. As Homura begins to lose hope and is on the verge of becoming a witch, Madoka arrives with Kyuubey, announcing that she has plans to make her wish. Madoka makes the decision to become a magical girl and wishes to prevent all witches from coming into existence. The paradoxical nature of her wish causes her to transcend into a godlike psychopomp and establishes a new law of cycles in which magical girls are purified and disappear into a higher plane instead of becoming witches. Homura returns to a world where Mami and Kyoko are still alive, while only Homura remembers Madoka existed. She and the other magical girls continue to fight against new creatures called wraiths, and Homura vows to continue fighting in honor of Madoka, and the series ends on a cliffhanger.